Hi there, Capricorn. I'm EllaAradia, and welcome to your March 2026 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Capricorn Earth signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you. But what I do find is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Capricorn signs. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoyed this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Capricorn, let's jump in. So I always like to just tune into the energies first, Capricorn, before I start pulling any cards. I feel like there's a situation or a person that is really kind of holding you back right now. It's a sense of carrying the connection. It's a feeling of you not really shining your light to full capacity. That's what I mean. Like, I feel like there's something or somebody that's kind of dimming your light, holding you back. You feel like you're carrying this connection. And there's a lot of mixed signals that I'm feeling as well. It's like kind of open, closed, back and forth, someone there, but they're not really stepping up. For some of you, this is going to be somebody, I feel, that just, keeps on kind of coming back and forth into your life, out of your life, that kind of energy. And for some of you, this is someone I feel that is not communicating with you very well at the moment. This is someone that feels, closed down, like very walled off. And there is a pattern that I feel which is around perhaps putting your needs to one side in order to have love. And I'll go a little bit more into that as we go along, but I feel like that's something that, comes from childhood. So, it's not just our beliefs that create our reality, it's also our definitions. And very often when we're growing up in those early years, we often form, our definitions of things. And what is your definition of love? Giving up your needs. Love equals giving up your needs for some reason. But I do feel something's changing. And I do feel that, things have kind of come to a, like a make or break point in this connection. For some of you, this might be a family member or a close friend. I do feel like it's a romantic connection for many of you, though. And with your overall energies, we have the Lovers. This is a card of choice. It was originally called the Choice. And a decision that needs to be made here, Capricorn. And usually it's a relationship decision, or it can be a decision which actually affects a relationship. And the lesson that I'm feeling here is about you honoring your needs, actually, and staying true to what you really want and deserve here, and choosing yourself. It's about doing what's right for you, as opposed to perhaps what other people want you to do, or what, it really is about, I feel, looking after your needs in this situation. And there is some kind of choice here that needs to be made about this person or this situation. And it's so important, to make a choice that is truly, aligned with your heart and your values and what you really want in life, what you really want from a person, a relationship, what lies in your recent past, judgment. So you're definitely at a point of, I feel, reassessing a situation here. Because judgment comes in when we're being asked to look at something, we're being asked to analyze something, to take a pause and really look at what we have. Because like I said, to me, it's a make or break point. There's a significant choice that needs to be made. And you're being asked to, really have a look at this, Capricorn. And, judgment is also, I feel, about healing, because it's a call to accountability. And it's also about looking at your side of this. What is it in you that perhaps has set the groundwork that allows for this situation? Because I feel like you're dealing with someone here who is just not stepping up in the way that you need. You're not getting that support. You're not getting that commitment from them. I feel like they're sending mixed signals. And in the past, it may have been something that you settled for in the hopes of love. But I feel like there's an invitation here to have a little bit of a deeper look at this, Capricorn, because ultimately, your heart is always trying to, your soul is always trying to lead you into a place of more wholeness and light. And the universe, every now and again will bring in an invitation for healing, an invitation to make a shift, to step out of a pattern that, ultimately isn't really bringing you what you really want. And judgment is all about learning from the past, learning the lessons so that, you don't go down the same roads over and over again, and it's also about looking at, what do you take with you moving forwards? You take the wisdom with you, for some of you, if it's some kind of new chapter in your life, it might not be related to love. There may be certain connections which have to be let go of, but maybe some of them you keep, and it's one of these moments where we do have a look at, let's say, what is this next chapter of my life going to be like? What do I want it to look like? Who or what do I want to have in it moving forwards? And what do I need to let go of? So you're really being asked to, have a deeper look at this situation. Because I do feel like it's something that's gone on for a while, and I do feel like you saw the potential, as we always do. We always see the potential, we see what it could be, we have hopes and dreams of, who this person might be for us in our lives. But sometimes the reality can turn out a little bit differently. So this is a point of a pause, to reevaluate, to make some kind of adjustment for a reset. Your current energies is the 5 of Cups. So for some of you, this might be a connection where, things have really broken down between you. You may be in a period of separation, or it may have already completed. As the 5 of Cups, it really talks about looking back on the past and sadness, grief, very often the energy of regret, where sometimes we can kind of go back over, situations that have happened, things that were spoken. And sometimes, some regret, a sense of loss, and running it over in your mind, if you had maybe handled things differently, if you'd said something else, maybe it wouldn't have got to this point. But it's very much the energy of being very focused on what has been lost or what has been completed, very focused on the past in that way. And sometimes what we miss is the 2 cups which are still standing in the image. There is always a silver lining. There's always something to be taken from a situation. And really, with judgment being there, I think with every connection that we have, if we can make a commitment to ourselves to, we're always within that, to focus on bettering ourselves and learning from every situation, that is something I feel, is going to help you through this. So if your feelings towards your situation, we have the 9 of Wands. That's the exhaustion that I'm feeling. The 9 of Wands, this speaks of someone, that you have a longer history with. It's very often somebody, something that you've invested, a lot of your time, a lot of your energy. You've really poured a lot into this connection, into this person. But at the point where there is this energy of exhaustion, and this is what I was feeling at the beginning, like it's this sense of you continually, working on the connection, pouring into this person, trying to like really work on it, for the long term. But this is somebody I feel that's just really not stepping up for you. And it might be they are part of a soul lesson, because what happens is when we are learning certain soul lessons, we're very often learning it in a negative or dualistic way. And what happens energetically is we can obligate other people to behave in certain ways towards us, because that is perhaps how we are learning a certain soul lesson. So your needs are not being met. You put your needs to one side in the hopes of love, but the love doesn't come and the person doesn't step up for you. They don't meet your needs. Because ultimately, it's about you honoring your needs and acknowledging them and validating them and making choices and decisions, for your highest and best in that sense. And, things are breaking down here, and I do feel, that the universe is almost wanting to kind of nudge you in a little bit of a different direction, even if, that is showing up in a new energy in yourself here. Because whatever this situation is, I do feel like it's one where, it's gotten heavy, you've gotten tired, you've invested a lot, and, in the hopes of things changing, but I just don't feel that they have for many of you. So what lies in your challenge is the King of Swords. This may be the person that you're dealing with, and what I often find, particularly with the King of Swords, is there's very often the deeper emotional connection that's missing. And for those of you that, do lead more with your hearts, that can be very challenging, especially if you are someone that has a lot of energy sensitivity and empathy and things like that. The King of Swords isn't really someone that leads with their heart. They tend to kind of think their feelings, and they tend to, make decisions based much more on the facts of a situation. They make their choices based on, information and facts. They are a deep thinker. And I do get the sense that your person probably, does kind of close off and really go into that kind of deep thinking. But there's something missing in terms of other needs being met here, which I feel for many of you are much more, those energies of feeling kind of emotionally supported, being held emotionally, being seen, your feelings being validated. So I feel like this is someone that closes off, every time you perhaps express your feelings about something, they just kind of close off and shut down. A little bit of an avoidant energy here. And of course, there's always an invitation, in those kind of connections to learn to have a much stronger sense of yourself. So there's a big invitation here, I feel, around some soul lessons for you, Capricorn, looking after yourself and all of that love that you pour into others. It's about giving that back to yourself now and choosing yourself, because sometimes, you know, when you have someone that's kind of back and forth and open, close, they come into your life, they leave your life, they come back around again. You know, there's no kind of straight lines towards you. You know, that in itself is a communication for you. You know, the not fully stepping up is giving you some answers really to your questions, but it can be tough to kind of listen to that, to see that sometimes. So what lies in your hidden influence is the Ace of Swords. This is usually known as, you know, the sword of truth, and it's an energy which comes in to cut through any situation, to cut through any illusions, to get to the truth of a situation. And this is what the universe is wanting you to see. It's wanting you to see the whole picture here. And, you know, it's not just about the potential or the dream that you had for this person, this connection. It's also about looking at what is actually happening, you know, right now in this moment. Because the price I feel for you, Capricorn, is potentially your deep happiness here. But there's a fear to let go. You know, there's a fear to see the whole truth here, the reality here. There's a fear to see what's not, you know, what's not working here, that you will lose that love, and then what? You know, then you will be alone, and it will bring up, you know, all of these other, you know, feelings which I feel are actually more connected to childhood. And as they very often are, I get the sense there may have been a parent that didn't show up in the way that you needed. There wasn't the support or the guidance, or you didn't feel seen for your needs somehow. Your needs were not met. And there's a little part of your energy that's still kind of frozen in that moment in time, you know, in the hopes of love, but they've put their needs to one side. And so for you to, you know, really honor what you deserve in terms of your needs and what you want from a relationship, there is a fear that you will become disconnected and lose that love. And so that's what the universe is asking you to take another look at and reframe here. So with your advice from the universe, the Three of Swords. This is a card usually that speaks about emotional pain, sadness, heartache, heartbreak, separation sometimes, and it can be a very challenging card, but sometimes this might be where you actually need to go. There may be some feelings which, you know, you do need to experience. And of course, they can be related to now, to this situation, but there's something deeper under here as to why, you know, you have attracted, you know, this kind of person or this kind of dynamic, because I really get the sense the person that you're dealing with here is part of a very powerful soul lesson for you. And as I always say about this card, you know, the wounds in the heart are really where the light comes in. And so sometimes from the most challenging times come the most powerful, you know, life-changing lessons. And what lies in your outcome is the King of Pentacles. When you start choosing you and you start honoring your needs, your true, genuine needs, what happens is it shifts your energy, and you can actually then attract somebody that can mirror that back to you. Because right now, the person that you're dealing with is actually mirroring back to you that childhood wound and the relationship that you're having with yourself, which is, you know, the most important So, you know, it might be challenging, but if you can get through this and if you can really step into those soul lessons and embody them, your energy will shift. And when you're doing all of that for yourself, then other people, they actually mirror that back to you. And that will lead you, I feel, to what you really want in a partner, you know, somebody that provides that safety, that security, that wants to pour into you and really kind of look after you. So Capricorn, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thank you so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.